got a couple guys here. Thank you so much for coming. I'll be insulting you all night. We have an incredible event, Women on Corporate Boards. Our terrific panel will come up here in a minute. Before they come up, I wanted to share some good news with you. In fact, there's absolutely terrific news on the corporate board front. I was very surprised when I learned this news when I did my research for this group. So the first piece of good news is that even though only 16% of corporate board seats are currently occupied by women, there's a big movement to get more women in those other seats. Some of that is mandated, some of it is voluntary. The mandated is that, in the European Union, they've mandated that by 2015, 30% of all corporate board seats must be occupied by women. I know that some people are not crazy about mandated rules of that nature, particularly in the United States. But I'm okay with it. I think it helps us get to our goals. So, I think that's terrific. And I'm going to share with you a little clip from Bloomberg News.
In Wall Street, the 6 jobs with the biggest gaps in pay are all in the financial sector. We're talking security sales, financial managers and advisors, insurance agents, and other specialists. In these categories, women earn 55 to 62 cents for every dollar made by men, according to a sociologist at the University of Arizona. It's because women often end up in lower paying jobs within the financial industry, say public finance, rather than the trading desk. However, the disparity prevails even among more narrow professions requiring advanced degrees. Take law and medicine, for example. Female lawyers making 78 cents on the dollar compared to men, and female doctors making 63 cents. Now, it used to be you could blame it on the fact that a lot of women went into primary care. That's changed in the last decade with substantial more women choosing specialties, but the starting salary gap between men and women physicians persists. Researchers say it cannot be explained by practice setting work.
Pretty interesting, right? I didn't make it up. It's a real live Bloomberg News story. So I was pretty shocked, and it made me think. I mean, it's amazing, to think that in this day and age, women on Wall Street make 38% less than men. Women lawyers make 22% less than men, and women doctors make 38% less than men. So, on average, I'm a numbers girl, so that means that women make, on average, 30% less than men in these advanced degree positions, right? When I created Broad Circle, really what I wanted to do was to have women focus on maximizing their profit, maximizing their money in all areas of their life. And, the other piece of it was that I was hoping that women would do commerce with each other. Women make up 52% of the workforce. We can change that revenue paradigm if we all do business with each other. So that's the story of that clip. So, first of all, I wanted to thank our annual corporate sponsors. We have incredibly generous and wonderful, I'm so grateful for them, corporate sponsors, annual corporate sponsors. SIBA's Mayor Hoffman McCann, Cheryl Calhoun is right there. She has been in there with us for the past 3 years. And Olmsted Williams Communications, Tracy Williams, who not only is an annual corporate sponsor, but provides daily feedback. Partner at Omni and owner of the Sparks, please come up, and our great panel. Thank you.
I have the easiest job because I just get to throw questions at the panelists, although I do have to warn you there was one question that no one said they wanted to answer, so I'm really tempted to start with that. I'm Carla Christopherson. I'm the managing partner of Omni & Myers, and I want to thank Broad Circle and Daria for having us involved. I was on a panel for one of the negotiating women panel, and like Daria said, it was just so impressive to see so many women who were gathered together for the same purpose of really trying to lift us all up. And, you know, I find that in my profession, you know, the last 3 pitches that I've gone on, it's because the head of litigation or the general counsel have said, I want to see the women you have who have trial experience. And it's because of that direct ask of women to basically say we need diverse teams that is causing other industries to change. And so all of the women on our panel are clearly leading the way because they're helping shape industry. And what the stats show is that if corporations have a certain percentage of women on their corporate boards, they perform better financially. And so for us, not only, you know, it's not just something that we can benefit personally by being on boards and getting power, because having power is good, but it's also a way to move forward our society and to help our businesses become more profitable. And so I think we're just so privileged to have such a wealth of experience on the panel. And so I'm going to turn over to Wendy to introduce herself and go on down the line.
Very good. I'm Wendy Webb. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me. I started my career in investment banking, moved to 20 years at the Walt Disney Company as an executive there, transitioned to a senior executive role at Ticketmaster until we were acquired by the concert promotion company, Live Nation. I joined Tennenbaum Capital Partners a couple of years ago now. When I was leaving Disney, I also had the opportunity to join the Jack in the Box board. Jack in the Box is a $3.5 billion publicly traded company, also owns Qdoba, Mexican Grill, and I'm the chair of the Nominating and Governance Committee there and a member now of the Audit Committee.
Edith?
My name is EDITH PEREZ, and I was a partner at Latham and Watkins, small firm of 2,000 lawyers. A tough choice of do I go back to Latham or do I go to Rio? So I went to Rio. And it turned out to be a great experience. And along the way, while I was a partner with Latham and Watkins, Mayor Reardon asked me to serve on the police commission, and that led to the presidency of the police commission for 2 terms, which, you know, when these things happen to you in your life, you don't realize how handy they will come in later. The international experience I had, pretty much overseeing a $2 billion enterprise like the Los Angeles Police Commission that was always in the media with very difficult chief of police succession issues. Fast forward, I thought it's time to retire from Latham and do something else, something more challenging. And so I thought what to do next, and I thought, oh, corporate board, that would be a challenge, that would be interesting. So then I was appointed to the Conway board, and because of conflicts of interest and I was ready for this challenge, I, quote, retired from Latham, but now I'm going to go back and work at something because nobody told me the boards only meet 5-7 times a year. And you have all this other time. So we're working on Chapter 2. And I sit on the Audit Committee, and I also sit on the Governance and Nominating Committee, and it is Conway Inc. is a $5 billion, $5.3 billion company. It is in 20 countries. You'll see their trucks, they're white with Conway written on them, and they also have a massive supply chain logistics subsidiary that's fascinating. So it has been a wonderful experience. I've now been on this board almost 2 years.
And Edith, O'Melvin is looking for women partners. Gabby?
My name is Gabrielle Greene, and people call me Gabby. And I've mostly just done one thing, which is private equity. I did do a stint as a CFO for about 5 years. And when I was doing that was when I actually got on my first board. It was kind of right around the time of Sarbanes-Oxley. But in the event, I manage a small fund that's based in Pasadena. I have the pleasure of working with a great partner who's over there.
And I agree.
And And so in addition to the fund that we manage, I have done board work. My first board was Whole Foods. I've been on that board for almost 8 years. I chair the audit committee of that. I then did a second board, and I got through that because of a connection through the Whole Foods board, and that was a company on the board for a couple of years, also on the audit committee, and then it went private. Bain Capital bought them. Then I went on another second board, and that was IndyMac Bank. And I will say that EDITH, sometimes boards meet many more times than 5 times. So in any event, now I'm on another second board, and that's a retailer that's based in Houston called Stage Stores. And I found for myself that I really do like retail. I like things where I can kind of understand what the consumer does and how she thinks. So I like that, but yeah, so I've enjoyed board work a lot. It really, though, there are times when it is just a whole lot of work, so I bear that in mind when you go there.
My name is Janet KERR, and I'm a professor of law and executive director of the Palmer Center for Entrepreneurship and the Law at Pepperdine University. My background is I started with the Securities and Exchange Commission in the late 70s, doing SEC enforcement work. Then I went on to private practice as an attorney doing securities regulation. Then in 1983, I joined the faculty of Pepperdine University Law School. And my area of expertise is corporate law, securities regulation, and I guess now it's corporate governance. And then in 2002, I was approached by someone, and I'll tell the story later on, became a director on the Carl's Jr. board, Carl's Jr. Hardee's. And we were later acquired by Apollo Management, so we went private. Then I also was on the Lazy Boy Furniture Board, which is amazing, and I really enjoyed that as well. And then also I'm on the TSI Fund Board, which is associated with TCW. So that's my background, and I've been chairperson of the Corporate Governance Committee in several of these companies. I also sit on the Tilly's Board, which is privately owned and is a clothing retailer. So that's my background. Thank you.